Tragically, I Need You is streaming right now on YouTube. How'd you get your start? Where'd you get started?
Well, I started as a playwright.
Okay.
So now, then I say, this is interesting about saying the word playwright.
Sure.
Literally, thousands, maybe millions in your audience fall asleep when they hear that word. He started as what? Yes, I wrote plays. Now they're drifting. But that's what I did for 20 years.
And then when did you get into stand-up? How'd you get into stand-up?
Well, I was doing stand-up on the side because it was a way in which you could write something and get it out there. Because if you wrote a play and you sent it off, it would take a year and a half for them to get back and go, no.
Right.
And I actually thought that the best way to actually get a play published was to put it in a bottle and throw it into the Hudson River and let it float away. And then someone would pick it up somewhere, and at least you knew that the schmuck would read it. Somebody somewhere would read it. You had a better chance of it being read. But I was doing stand-up on the side for fun. And then it became what people really seemed to think was, they gravitated to it. And then all of a sudden, Catch a Rising Star in New York was asking me to work there, and that was the kind of it began that transition.
Who were in the clubs when you were starting? Who were in the clubs?
It was the group that I was with, and now I'm like 40 when I start as a stand-up. It's Dennis Leary, Mario Cantone, Kevin Meaney, and Rosie O'Donnell was the host, and it was a lot of fun.
Catch a Rising Star. How'd you get hooked up with The Daily Show? How did that happen?
That was just dumb luck because the Liz Winstead, who was the executive producer, and Hank Gallo was one of the producers, knew my work, and I was kind of a comic working in New York that everybody went, gee, how come things aren't going well? And how come you're still just here? I had all of this material, and I was yelling about a bunch of stuff, and they needed somebody to come in, and they needed material. And I came in, and initially, it was, I sat at a desk, there was no audience, and I would improv it, and I'd just yell about something, and they'd go, we like this, do it again, I'd do it again, do it again, and that was where it started.
Were you there when Kilborn was there? Or you?
Yeah, of course. I was there from the very beginning.
I was there. I did Sports Centers with him back in '96 before he took me. He took me on. He said, "Let's go out to dinner, Spark." And so I went out to dinner with him, and he took me through the drive-through of a Kenny Rogers Roll-In Roaster in Southington, Connecticut, and started explaining to me that there was this new show that he might leave Sports Center for, and he described The Daily Show to me. Yeah. Of course, typical of Killer, he said to me, he goes, do you think I should do it? I'm like, dude, I'm 26. I just got here from Redding, California, market, 200. I'm psyched to be here. You're really going to leave? And that's what he did. And he left.
And the only man to read a whole series of jokes and have no idea where the joke was. It was stunning to watch. I gave him a bottle of scotch when he left, and it took a year for him to say thank you. I mean, come on. And it was a great bottle of scotch. If you don't think that I was irritated about that, I mean, after Johnny Unitas had already told me to keep the bottle of scotch.
And then Jon Stewart comes in, and he's, I revere him. In the same way you revere Johnny Unitas, I revere Jon Stewart.
I mean, the show became his show, and he really managed it to be what it became, and it really was about. I mean, I ended up doing those shows whenever that he felt that the arc of the show needed me. So, I mean, he really did show by show by show. This show will be this, this show will be that, and then when they needed somebody at the end to be a big barking dog, they'd bring me.
Well, when did you find that style? Is that the way you are off the off camera?
If I was like that, if I'm acting like the way I act on stage all the time, I'd be dead. I wouldn't even be here for this. You'd have two guys out there with pads going, ho! Let's try to get him back. No, it was tough because I started to realize I was funny when I was frustrated and angry. People thought that was funny, which is, in the end, kind of sad that when you're really angry about something and people just laughing at you, but it never struck me as really, something that I didn't want to pursue. But I didn't know how to do it. I didn't know how to yell directly at the audience, and I would turn around and yell at the wall. And then I realized that I could yell at them, and I got comfortable with it. And then I realized they liked it. I mean, you go to a town and say, your town sucks. My town does suck. How did he know? Well, you know, it didn't take long. It was 5 minutes.
Well, is this where I should read where you're coming to next?
No.
Well, Escondido, California. Your town sucks on the 6th of October.
Yeah, if we find it. I keep yelling Escondido means hidden. Well, how hidden can it be?
Well, the city with lights in this big sphere, Las Vegas. You'll be at the Mirage Theater on October 7th.
Yeah, and it sucks. Think about it. How much stuff can you shove into one area? They put that big sphere in. I mean, I performed at the T-Mobile Center.
Yeah.
They just keep shoving. You can't put anything more in. They just shove something else in.
That's what Las Vegas means, I think, is just keep shoving stuff in. You know, Reading, PA, Rochester, New York, Utica, New York, throughout the rest of October. LewisBlack.com to get more tour dates and tickets. Catch the Rich Eisen Show every single day on the Roku channel, 12 to 3 Eastern, for free.